Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the CreditRepairShop.com. And in this video, we're going to talk about court summons responses, but we're going to also talk about them taking it to the next level because we've had a lot of victories with them, and the debt collectors are not going to just sit there and want to lose all the time because they're in this into the game of buying debt to make money. But one of the things, before we get started, I just want to say thank you for everyone who watches the videos. I know that there's plenty of stuff that you can watch. I do my best to give you information that is correct, accurate, that you can use if you have debt collectors coming after you, you need to repair your credit, getting out of debt, all of that stuff. All right, to get started, this here is a lawsuit with Midland Credit Management, and it was a Capital One Bank. They purchased the debt from Capital One Bank. I'm not going to show the papers because I believe that debt collectors are looking at my channel and they're trying to figure out how they can reverse what I'm putting together and help, teaching people to do to fight their own debt collection cases. And I know that we're doing a lot of good work because instead of it just ending with the initial hearing, what they're doing is they're asking for an extension, and then they're sending 3 documents where they want people to go into more detail about how do you, number one of the questions on there was, how are you, in a layman's term, saying, how are you smart enough to get this, put information, like where did you learn to do this? How did you know to, they're not saying how did you know to question us about this, but with what they're asking, in a way, that is what they're asking, because it's like, we don't expect you to ask these questions. So first, the documents that they're sending back, and this is what Midland is doing, because obviously they're tired of losing all of these, and they probably said, hey, we need to step this up. So what they're doing is, first you get a court summons, and then you write your response. Usually during that hearing, the judge is going to make a decision, or they might say, well, we need to extend it to allow them to get more information. But they would just, extend it, and then usually when people came back, they would just say that everything was, they would dismiss it. That's what's been happening with a lot of clients. Well, now in this one, I guess they've gotten tired of doing it, and I've seen this with the other debt collection companies too. But Midland, what they're doing is they're sending a more detailed interrogatories to the defendant. So rather than just going with their simple form of with the summons, they're actually trying to break down everything. Like, they're asking all of these questions specifically, and some of them, from what I'm seeing, is in a way trying to trip up people. So I'm going to tell you some of the questions that they're asking this client of ours. Number one, they want to know anything that you used to assist you in putting together your response. So obviously the reason why they want to know that is because they feel that the person who put it together, you couldn't have done that. It's just, this was too good. So who did you use to do that? Because we want to be able to know that information. Not to say that person always has to testify, but they do sometimes want you to testify. But obviously the people are using the information that I'm providing, and they're just saying, hey, this is information that I use from watching information here on YouTube. They want to know if you're going to have any experts that are going to be called. I mean, this stuff is normal in the things that happen when you're being sued and they take it to the next level. These are normal things, but the reason why this is a step that they're taking is because they're tired of losing the lawsuits. Like, some of the times they'll just say, we don't care. We got plenty of people that are not answering, but they must have a lot of people that are using the information that I'm giving to fight them. Next one, it says, which I believe this is one to trick up people. It says that, okay, so do you deny the existence of a contract between yourself and they list Capital One Bank, which is the original creditor? Of course, you had a contract with them, or the person had a contract with them. And then they'll ask, these are like to get you to say yes. Do you believe that Capital One breached their contract? And then it said, did you open a contract with them? Did you take any advances from them? And then they talk about everything with the original creditor. And then they slip in a question saying, do you believe the plaintiff gave you the information to everything to be able to make a payment on this contract? And this is where they're tricking people up, because in all of the other statements, they use the original creditor. You and the original creditor had a contract. You and the original creditor, you had payments. You and the original creditor did or did not have any disputes with each other. But then they slip in with one of the questions, and they say, did the plaintiff present you? Did the plaintiff present you? And see, this is where we've been winning with these, is because the plaintiff is not Capital One Bank. The plaintiff is Midland. Midland is bringing a lawsuit, not the plaintiff. So if Midland brings a lawsuit, Midland needs to have all of the information as if Capital One Bank was the one that was doing the lawsuit. And this is what they don't want to have people ask it the right way. Yeah, you could get in front of a judge, and the judge will say, hey, they have a right to buy debt, and it's going to be transferred over to them, and then they can collect on it. Well, we're not arguing that. What we're arguing is this right here. And I'm not going to put the documents on here because I know, Mr. or Mrs. Debt Collector, you're watching the videos, and I don't want to respond on video with writing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell people, and we're still going to have strategies to come back at you. And as a matter of fact, I can say this strategy here, and there's nothing that you could do about it, because you know that you have to prove this information. So let's just go at it right here. On the affirmative defense, the defendant was asking for a contract between Midland Credit Management, Inc. You have a right to get that. What they try to do is supply an affidavit, but that's not a contract. Give me that information. The next thing is, plaintiff did not provide any documentation that showed that they have permission to access their personal information. Please get that to me. We all know right now what is the number one thing that the courts, number one thing that everybody is worried about: access to our personal information. And that needs to be transferred over to from the original creditor. Just because they bought a debt does not mean that they have access to your personal data. If that was true, then anyone could just go out there and buy anything and just say, hey, I got access to your personal information. When you call, or a debt collector calls you, why do they do the verification? The reason why they do the verification is because when you do that and you record yourself giving them that information, you're initiating by giving them permission to have access to your personal information, because you gave them your personal information. Whenever a debt collector calls, and it's a new one that calls you, you never give them your information. If you are the right person, and if they have it, they're supposed to have it. They don't need to verify it. Now, if you're trying to settle it so you can move forward, and you're just like, hey, this is mine, I don't dispute anything, then yeah, you can give them your information because you're trying to move forward for a settlement. The next thing is, plaintiff did not provide complete audited accounting of the alleged amount for the amount that they're claiming. They gave two statements, but that is not a full accounting. You own the account. You're trying to take ownership of everything. You're saying that this is your claim is for this full amount that you paid pennies on a dollar for. Prove all of the charges. Give me all of the payments that I made, all of the charges with my digital signature or my signature, or if it was a PIN code, get me all of that. That's, if I'm in a dispute With the original creditor, they would have all of that information. Now you are the creditor, so you need to provide that information. Give me those receipts that add up to that claim. If you were to call any company that you owed money to, that you have as an original creditor right now that you're paying, if you were to call your credit card company, they would send you everything that you've ever done with your credit card company. The next thing is plaintiff has not provided any documentation to showing the purchase of the alleged debt. And if they can't give you that information showing that, okay, sorry about that interruption. The next thing is the plaintiff has not provided any documentation showing a purchase of the alleged debt for a value of the amount claimed. Now, the way that I stated that means that they got to show, they can't just come and say, hey, this is the amount. They need to have the specific account number complete, not just last 4 digits. Remember, this is their account. They purchased this. They should have all of the proof. How can they just come to court and just say, hey, this is what you owe, this is the statements, and it, yeah, they got away with doing that for many years, but now we're up on what they're trying to do, so that we're going to challenge it. Next thing is plaintiff did not provide contract between Capital One Bank and Midland Credit Management to prove in the claim and purchase of the charge-off debt is 100% accurate. And you state the individual, because they'll give you this affidavit, it'll be signed by a vice president of the bank, which was on this one, but they do not state that there are no errors in any accounts. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Any errors in any accounts. Because if there's one error in one account, it must be pinpointed and they must provide the specific account that has an error. They're not able to do that. So what we challenge is we say for the whole portfolio, you don't have anything signed from Capital One Bank saying that there are no errors in any of the accounts. Yeah, you only have one account, but that does not matter. That does not matter when it comes to this. They must say that there are no errors, and if they say that there's one error, there could be errors in a whole bunch. That's why they don't state it. They give it to the debt collector as is. It's like going to a used car dealer and they don't have a warranty. They're giving them this debt portfolio as is. There could be bankruptcies in there. There could be actual people who filed bankruptcy that is in that portfolio. The next one is which in some states, it depends on what state you live in, if you were properly served by the debt collector. In some states, you do have to sign for it. They can't just leave it there. They can't just say that they left it at the doorstep. In other areas, you can do that. But in some states, you can't. You have to do it. And then it says here, we put, bill of sale did not show the alleged account number or name as part of the sale of the debt to the original, from the original creditor. On the affidavits, it'll never have your specific account number, your name. They'll try to put together a document where it'll be produced by Midland, but it is not produced or signed by the original creditor. And they will not ever get a document like that. Trust me, they won't. You never know what'll happen in the future. They might try to make it a requirement, but they don't even get that signed. They don't have that in there. If you're being sued by a debt collector, look at your documents and you'll see that they don't have anything that specifically says your name on the affidavit. It'll just say maybe a lot number or something like that. You need to have them prove everything. Now, let's get back to the other document that they're sending. So they'll have also requests for admissions to defendant. So they will ask you specifically to admit or deny. So they'll ask questions. This is one here. The defendant requested to open an account with Capital One Bank. All of this stuff is going to be where you admit, but anything that pertains to the debt collector, because see, they're going to ask all of these questions. They're going to establish, yeah, did you open an account? You could just picture this. Did you open an account with Capital One? Yes. Did you charge stuff with Capital One? Yes. Did you do this with Capital One? Yes. But when it comes to the plaintiff, they'll slip it in. Let me just show you where they slipped it in. So they had 12 questions, and then they slipped in on question number 13. Plaintiff made a written demand for payment of the outstanding balance to the defendant prior to filing suit, and defendant refused or failure to pay plaintiff the outstanding balance. This is again where we get into, it's not the plaintiff is not the original creditor. The plaintiff has not proven full debt validation, full account number. Plaintiff has not done that. Original creditor, you're speaking on behalf of an original creditor, which you really, if you really think about it, can they really even speak on that part with the original creditor? You could turn around, if you felt that you were confident enough, you could kind of turn that around on them and ask them, where is the contract between myself and Capital One Bank? They usually don't even provide that information. Let's see here. And then the next one was production request for production to the defendant. So it says to produce all communications and stuff that you receive in exchange between you and the plaintiff and its agent. So if you've had any communication, any stuff that you want to dispute, that, hey, I had one of your agents tell me something and it's not what was shown in the summons, or you disagree with it or whatever, they're giving you that opportunity to state on that. And then they're asking you to produce any documents from the original creditor, trying to make you come up with stuff rather than them come up with stuff. What are they going to do? You're going to come in there with everything with all of the charges, statements, and balances and payments and everything, and you're going to hand that over to them so they can turn around and use that against you? No, they need to provide that information. They own the account. Another one of the questions that they had here was if you had any communications with the original creditor that you recorded or anything, because they know that there could be potential issues. See, what they're doing is they're trying to set it up for, hey, we didn't know that, or just in case we lose, we don't want to have a lawsuit come back with us because we were unaware with any disputes that you had with the original creditor. Let's see here. And again, produce all documentations, any price quotes or price agreements that you had for any goods or services provided from the original creditor. So really, in a way, what it looks like with this document is that they're trying to protect themselves. So if you had any issues, any things that that would make them look like they were in the wrong, that they want to have a way to be able to get out of it. Because remember, as a debt collector, they could be sued. You can countersue them, and you would probably win due to them not having the appropriate information. All right, the next thing is that, again, what they wanted the defendant to do was to produce evidence of any bank, credit union, savings, investment, or any financial accounts in defendant's name where a payment was made to the plaintiff or Capital One Bank within the last 6 months. All confidential information may be redacted. The reason why they're asking for this is because in a way they're trying to have this individual do the work to provide documentation of potential accounts that they're going to try to go after if they end up winning their lawsuit. This seems to be a little bit like they're overstepping at this point, but you never know. What I would tell someone to do is to just state that number one, no payments were made to the plaintiff, because the plaintiff, you're in a lawsuit where the plaintiff is suing you, and the plaintiff is not the original creditor. But in this paragraph they stated, or the Capital One Bank, which is the original creditor. But if you don't have the full account number, you don't know what funds were sent to Capital One Bank, because you don't know, you don't have the full account number. So you can't actually come up with a record, because the information that they gave to you was redacted. So how can you give them information that would be accurate if you don't have the full information for the account that they have in question? Let's see here. Next thing is where they just want you to put together, if you have any paperwork or anything that you're going to be presenting to the court, that will kind of, any documents and any types of photographs or models, exhibits, whatever. They're just trying to see what you have so they can kind of see if they're going to move forward. Basically, what we've been seeing with these is, if you answer these, where you're kind of making them have to kind of know that they're going to have to come up with some documents. Because if you really just boil everything down, when you boil everything down to the, to what the whole case is going to be about, it's going to be about, do you owe them, and the amount that you would owe them. And they're going to have to prove that, and they're going to have to prove that full claim. If you press hard that they need to give you all of the information, complete account number, all of the payments, the credits, everything that an original creditor would have to have, you would have a very good chance of winning your the lawsuit that's against you, or getting into a very, very good stalemate for a settlement that will be able to be made on this. But this is what they're doing. And maybe at some point I'll show you these documents, but I don't want to show our hand on, letting the debt collectors come back and, make their adjustments. I don't want to have them be able to do that. If you have debt collectors coming after you, there's my 3-pack of letters that are below here. For limited time, they are free. I'm going to be changing that pretty soon, because I feel that debt collectors are also jumping into there. At least if they jump in there, they're going to have to pay something. And if you have debt collectors come after you in court, we can help you with giving you information for responding to your court summons, as long as it's a third-party debt collector like Midland, Portfolio, those types, LVNV. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process and my 2-phase settlement process. If you, and again, if you have debt collectors coming after you, my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, cease and desist collection activities letter, and the debt validation letter. Those 3, so you can fight back against debt collectors. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you ask your questions, post your comments, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your time.